In this video, we're going to talk about my experience reading comics for the first time. So, I never read comics before, and the reason why I'm doing it now is more of just like a stress relief, a break from reality, and that it definitely is. So, the first one that I'm starting with is DC Universe Rebirth series Batman. Batman, the reason why is because it's my first ever comic, and I'm most familiar with this superhero. I watched Batman growing up, the animated series. I watched all of the Batmans that came out as live action movies and really enjoyed them. And I just figured that Batman would be something that's familiar, so I can kind of understand the characters, even if I am starting at a different place. And not starting very far back in the series. And then also with Batman, it's he's a very interesting character. I'll just put it that way simply. And there's a lot of different villains to him. The reason why with the whole entire comics thing is just that I wanted to also get a deeper feel for the story, the characters, who Batman really is, his origin again, how his character develops inside of the comic books, the other characters inside of there. So Catwoman, Alfred, any new superheroes or other villains in their backstories. So kind of getting more of a well-rounded view of Batman and Batman's universe in general. So that way, when I do watch movies or when I do watch some of the animated movies that they come out with, which are really good. One of the ones that I watched recently, I do not remember, but I will give you that information. But yeah, so this is what I'm starting with. I've already read this volume. This is really good, so good, and then the artwork is amazing. I mean, if you read comic books before, then of course you've already seen just the artwork inside of them, so you understand how good it can be. And once you get used to reading it, it flows so smoothly. And then you also like if you really get into it, you get this emotional attachment at times when you're reading into it. You see the expressions on their face. You know what's going on, and you know what's happening inside of the story. You don't have to work so hard to visualize, and that's what I love about the comics. You don't have to work so hard to visualize. Comparably speaking to if you were reading a novel or if you were even listening to an audiobook, they describe what you're looking at or what you're reading more in those novels, but inside of comic books, you don't have to worry about that because you get the picture of what's going on here. And that's what I really love about it. So again, if I'm looking to do this for a stress reliever, then I don't have to think so hard. I don't have to put so much brain energy into it. I can look at the pictures and I can read what's going on. It makes it so simple. So if for you, you're trying to find something to break away with, comics may be your thing to do. Comics aren't just the one thing, but it's one thing that I wanted to try and to get into because I've never read comics before. As you see some more artwork here. But I won't put too many spoilers in here because I'm just kind of going over my experience reading comics so far. And these books, I want you to actually go out and get them if you decide to look into comics. But Batman, the volume 2 here, I Am Suicide, it just all the volume 2 follows his adventure going into to pretty much get this other villain that he needs in order to save one of the characters in this volume here that pretty much has gone mad and he's trying to save them, but he needs this super villain that he has to go and find, but he has to form a crew to go and get them. So I read through both of these, and both of these are really good. And then I haven't read yet. I have not read this one yet, but I did buy this one recently. But I haven't got to it because I've been reading manga as well, and I'm really stuck on this Bleach series. But we're focusing on the comic books here. But this is my first experience with comics. It has not disappointed thus far. If you've been reading comics, if you're thinking about getting into comics, put some comments down in the comment section. Let me know what you've read recently that's good. Any recommendations that you may have. If you're thinking about getting into comics, tell me what you might be thinking about getting into, and maybe we can chat back and forth about that. But if you are considering a series, I would definitely recommend Batman if you are familiar with the character, or just start with a character that you're familiar with, whether it's watching the cartoons or whether it's watching the live action movies. Find a character that you already know somewhat and then start from there. There are plenty of YouTube channels out there that tells you where to start in each universe, but I think one of the best things is starting with a character that you know, because you don't have to think so much as far as like, okay, what's going on here. You already have a sense of some of the characters, so it makes it easier. But yeah, that's my initial experience with comic books. I'm loving it so far. Try not to get too anxious to buy more and more and more. Just sticking with and reading with the ones that I do have. But yeah, it's a great experience. So yeah, leave some comments down below in the comment section and let me know your experience with comics when you first started. Maybe like your first comic book you read, the year you got started with. Just anything down below about comics and your experience with them. All right, well, I'll see you in the next video.